Hi, my name is Megan. I live in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and I'm here today to share my thoughts on all of my sewing projects in 2021. I am coming up on my 1 year anniversary of making YouTube videos, and it has been a fantastic year. I am so excited to be sharing videos still. I posted my first video last year. I hoped that I would still be making them in a year, but I also thought maybe this won't be for me and maybe I won't keep going, and that's okay. And so I am delighted that I am still able to make and share videos, and I'm still sewing up a storm. So I want to thank you first of all for coming along this journey of the past year with me. If you're a brand new viewer, please consider subscribing. And if you have been with me from the very first video, just thank you so much. It has been a really fun year. So today I'm going to be talking about the year that's behind us. I'm a little bit late in the 2021 sewing review game, but I hope that you will indulge me. I'm going to split my thoughts on this year into two videos. So today I'm sharing a look back. In my next video, I will share my look forward. So what I am planning for the year that we're in right now, which is 2022. It is the end of January as I am filming this, and I have had some time to think about the year that has come and gone and the sewing that I did in that year. And I wanted to share with you my favorite projects, some things that didn't go super well, and give you an update on my Make 9 2021. And then, some of the things that I learned along the way. So I thought I would get right to it and share my favorite projects. So in the year 2021, I have no idea how many garments. I used to be a really fastidious record keeper when it came to my sewing projects. I had a running spreadsheet with all the fabric I bought and how much I spent and where I bought it, what I intended to use it for, as well as really detailed notes about every project that I had made and the sizes I made and any notes, things I would change for the next time. And that just fell apart. It really went out the window in 2020. So this year I didn't make any notes about what I made. I couldn't even ballpark for you how many projects I made because I did show you lots of them on the channel, but I also I didn't show you lots of them. So I have no idea how many garments I sewed in 2021, how many meters of fabric I used, how much money I spent. It's a great mystery to me. So here are some of my when I look back at the year, my favorite projects. One of the projects that I am super proud of is my Love Notions Tempo sundress. This dress pattern came out in the summertime, and I made it, and I spent a long time making sure that I had a great fit on the bodice. So this sundress has a sheared back, and I made it with some precious fabric that I had in my fabric stash, and I'll link videos along the way that talk in more detail about these projects, but I felt like $1 million when I wore this dress. It was just, the fit was great. I felt sassy. Nobody believed that I had made it when I wore it out. I have some sentimental feelings about this dress, and I am really, really pleased with it. Another garment I made that I just loved was the Pattern Emporium Every Day's a Weekend dress. So this is a pattern that I tested. It's a knit dress with tiers. It has a really loose fit, relaxed bodice. And when I tested it, I thought, I am never gonna wear this. I don't know, it's not what I would typically have reached for. Because it has a loose fit bodice, it's not that conventionally flattering, like tight. I like a tight fitting bodice and then an A-line, sort of that fit and flare silhouette, and this was definitely more of a straight up and down. And I wore that dress probably twice a week, all summer long. I wore it to barbecues when we were allowed to have barbecues. I wore it to work when I was working from home. I wore it to the playground. I wore it on holiday when we went to British Columbia for a working holiday, when we cleaned out my mother-in-law's house. I wore it constantly. I adore that dress, and I made it out of like the cheapest knit fabric I could find at Fabricland the day that I went looking for fabric, and it just, something about it, all the pieces came together, and the sum is way greater than each individual piece put together. But that is a definite favorite, and I wore it a ton. Another dress that I made this year that was really special to me was the dress that I made for my cousin's wedding. So this was the big social event of the entire year. In fact, of the past 2 years was my cousin got married, and at the last minute restrictions expanded and we were able to attend, and so I made a dress to wear to his wedding, and that wedding was beautiful, and I felt beautiful in the dress, but I was comfortable and I felt sensational, and I definitely would recommend the Patterns for Pirates Gala Gown. I talked about this dress a lot as well in a video. There's some things that I would do differently if I made it again. It's pretty similar to one of the dresses in the new Cashmerette book, so if you have a larger bust or a fuller figure, you might look to that dress instead of the gala gown. But I did. I loved it. I made it in a foil print scuba that I had had in my stash for a really long time, and I love that dress. I had intended to wear it. We had tickets to a Broadway show, like a theater production, in Calgary here the first weekend in January. Unfortunately, it was canceled, but when eventually I do get to go back to the theater, that is what I will be wearing. The last make I wanted to share with you as one of my favorites is the one that I'm wearing right now. This is the Love Notions lyric blouse, and I talked about this a lot. I made this blouse for a sewing challenge that happened in April, and this was both a project that I was proud of my sewing, but also I was proud of my mental and emotional journey to finish this garment. So I have gained some weight in the past 2 years. My body has changed. I've had 2 babies. I live life in 2022, and I won't go into it, but I had traced off this dress pattern in a number of sizes over the span of 2 years to make it, and having to retrace it in a larger size, it's no big deal. But it was to me at the time, and now I've realized that getting the fit that you want is more important than which line you're tracing on the pattern. So I love this blouse. I wear it a ton. Unfortunately, when I made it, my serger was in the shop, and so I didn't finish all of the seams, and the rayon has gone through a too warm of a wash cycle for rayon, and so it has shrunk in length, and so it's a bit shorter than I would like it to be. But I think, a good steam and some hang, and it might be okay. But I'm really happy with this garment. I made the peplum blouse. I made it with the bishop sleeves. I wore this. We went on a bike pedal pub. So it's a 12-seater bike that it has a full service bar in it, and you bike around from brewery to brewery. We did this in the summertime with our friends. It was the only social gathering we had with a big group of friends. We had one family event and one friend event, and it was wonderful, and I felt great in how this garment looked, and it was perfect weather because it wasn't hot that day, and so the rayon was light and breezy. And I do intend to make another one of these blouses just like this. I think it has a fit and flare peplum, so this button down the front, sort of v-neck bishop sleeve, is a very trendy look right now, and there's lots of blouse patterns that achieve this look. But the fact that it has a more fitted waist and a peplum, I think, is more flattering for how I like to accentuate my waist and hip ratio. So I'm really happy with this one. It was a favorite for the year, and I do wear it. I pull it out of the closet anytime I want to feel like a little bit cool and put together, and like I want to look good. So I made a few garments in this year that, unfortunately, though I loved them, I didn't wear them. And part of that was the fact that I just had nowhere to go to wear them. I work from home. I have 2 small children. We didn't do a lot because of all the various COVID restrictions. It was a challenging year. Plans got put on hold for everybody, I think. And so I made a lot of dresses with the idea that, back in April, that certainly by September, I would be back in the office and we would be going to events, and there would be places where I would need to dress in something other than jeans and a cardigan. But unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. So I did make 2 Pattern Emporium tank dresses that I tested. I love them both. I haven't worn them other than to take the photos for the tests in. One of them has a full circle skirt, and it's white with black polka dots, and it's so cute. And I hope that this year I get a chance to wear it. The other one it's a bit of a dressier garment. It's got sort of like a floral print and A-line skirt. It'd be perfect for a night out or a wedding or a concert, and it just didn't get there. But those are 2 that I didn't wear that I really wish that I had. The other one that I didn't wear out into the world in real life was the Pattern Scout Ava dress that I made. So I made a hot pink linen. It's a sheath dress. It has a wrap front, faux wrap front. It's beautifully assembled. It's French seamed. It's got this cool shoulder detail that it sort of stands out a little bit. It's very modern looking. And again, I just didn't have anywhere to wear it. A few patterns that I went back to again and again were from Pattern Emporium. So the Endless Summer Tee, which has, it's a tank top or a t-shirt. And one of the options is a cap sleeve, so sort of like a grown on or cut on cap sleeve. Just a little bit more shoulder coverage than a tank top, but not a full cap sleeve that's separate. I made several of them and I wore them a ton. I really like that top. I think that I would like to adjust, like narrow the shoulder width just a little bit because some of my bra straps showed depending on which bra I'm wearing. But I made it a ton, got a ton of wear out of all of them. So I will go back to that pattern again as well. I also made a few of their Every Me tanks. And so these I made, they have a seam up the back, they're longer with a curved shirt tail hem. And I made these more for loungewear or activewear, so to work out in. I made two. I made a green one and a peach colored one, and I wear them all the time. Another pattern also from Pattern Emporium that I found myself reaching for again and again when I did have somewhere to go was the Sea Change jumpsuit from Pattern Emporium. So if I made this one again, I have a video that talks about it. If I made this one again, I would add length to the crotch seam because I didn't measure that when I made the garment. But I love the wide leg pant. I wear it with a t-shirt underneath it, and I feel like funky, put together, modern, but comfortable, and you know, it suits my lifestyle. So I think that that's a garment that I'm not sure how many jumpsuits I need in my closet, but it's definitely, if you're looking for a jumpsuit pattern, I would recommend that one. I did have a few flops this year. So there are a few projects that I made that I feel like don't even warrant to mention, and that's because I picked the wrong fabric for that pattern. So either I was trying to make a tank top that was intended for a knit with drape, and I picked more of a cotton lycra that had more body to it, and it just didn't work out. But there were two that I want to talk about. One I have talked about previously, and it is the Rebecca Page Olivia top. This is a knit peasant blouse. I made it out of a beautiful black bamboo spandex from Black Rabbit Fabrics. It has an elasticated neckline. I tried to wear it different ways. Occasionally I would put it on because it was the only thing that was clean. I felt really blah in it. So that's a flop for me. Didn't love the pattern, didn't love the pattern instructions. Felt like it was really boxy. It's got a lot of flare in the top. I think there are lots of different ways you could achieve the same effect. I think a pattern I might look into, because I do love that look of the peasant, like gathered peasant blouse, to live out my fantasies of, like, I don't know, sassy milkmaid or a beautiful mysterious woman on vacation, is the Adrian blouse, which lots of people have made. So I think I might give that one a go this year. The other one that pains me to speak about is the Allegro shorts from Love Notions. And I tried to make this pattern work for me. I think it was a combination of fitting adjustments that I need to that pattern and, you know, my expectations of what a pair of elastic waist shorts would look like on my body. I don't know. Like I have several pairs of ready-to-wear elastic waist linen shorts that I lived in all summer and I could not figure out why I could not make this sewing pattern for the same style of shorts work for me. But I just couldn't do it. I made two muslins out of flannel. One I wore as pajama shorts until, because I hadn't finished the seams, they fell apart. Now they're cleaning rags. One I had made adjustments to, it just didn't work. And then I made them out of a pair of, I think it was a linen viscose noir. And I wore them when we were in BC. It was scorchingly hot. And I wore those shorts and I didn't feel great in them. While I'm on the topic of flops, let's talk about my Make 9. So my Make 9 challenge for 2021, I released a whole video on it. And I decided to approach Make 9 differently last year. And so I picked 3 fabrics I wanted to use, 3 patterns I wanted to try, and 3 skills that I wanted to learn. And I achieved 2 of the 9 things on that list. So I did not make any of the patterns that I picked. So I had picked the penny dress from Sew Over It, the Burnside Bibs dress from Sew House 7, but it's been released by Simplicity Patterns, and the glissandro pants or skirt from Love Notions. I made none of these things. I have fabric for them. They sat on my to sew list for months, and I did not make them. I did not use any of the 3 fabrics I identified as having wanted to use. One of them is a Rifle Paper Company rayon that I have earmarked for a Rhapsody blouse. One of them is an embroidered black rayon with white embroidery on it, and I wanted to make a maxi skirt. I didn't do it. And one is a like a Liverpool or a double knit that has a really dark floral on it. That's beautiful. Didn't use that one either. And finally, where I did see some success was in the skills I wanted to learn. And so I wanted to learn shearing, which I did in the Tempo Sundress. I wanted to insert a zipper into a garment, which I did in a few different garments. I feel quite comfortable inserting a zipper right now. I probably will have jinxed every single zipper insertion I'm going to do in 2022 with that statement. And I also wanted to learn how to use the rolled hem function on my serger to do some, rolled hems on skirts, but also on napkins and things like that. And so I feel like that is probably the next thing I'm going to do the next time I have some time to play with my serger. So I think that my limited success in the Make 9 can be attributed to two factors. One, the context of the life that I am currently leading, which is a lot of those garments and fabrics I were saving for special, and I don't do anything special anymore. And so when I wear the same gray sweatshirt day in and day out, I don't need a beautiful dark floral fit and flare dress or wrap dress or whatever I was planning to use. The maxi skirt, I just didn't get to it this summer. My schedule got busy, but not with sewing, or with sewing different things. So the context I find myself living in, that we all find ourselves living in one way or another, has definitely led me to feel less excited about some of the projects I was really excited about doing this spring. When it comes to the patterns, again, those are patterns that don't necessarily suit the life that I'm living or I have lived in 2021. I am hopeful that we will be back into the world in the spring, later this spring or summer. And so definitely still interested in making all three of those patterns. I still have fabric for all three of those patterns, but they're not going anywhere. So I think that a Make 9 is great. I love making sewing plans. I love making sewing plans and making lists and getting organized. Where I fall through, and this is the factor number 2 that goes into it, is I am a squirrel. So I see something shiny, so a new pattern test or a new fabric or a pattern everybody's talking about, and I want to make that thing, and I want to make it now. And should I find myself looking at an afternoon or an evening of free sewing time, and I'm like, I'm going to make that thing now, I sometimes will be motivated to print that pattern out, trace it, cut the fabric out, start sewing it right away. There's a few projects that I have in my files that I need to finish that I got excited and squirrely about. And you certainly have heard me make lists and plans and then not seen the garments materialize, but I am not going to be too hard on myself because this is my hobby, and at the end of the day, I did make some great projects. Like I said, I have no idea how many I made, but I think I did great this year. I made a lot of stuff that I love, and when I consider the ones that I don't love, I think that I won. I won 2021 from my own measure. I'm pleased with how the year went. I don't know that I'll do a Make 9 for this coming year. I think that what I've also learned about myself is I don't like being too prescriptive. So I think having 1 or 2 projects on the list that I'd like to make next is good. And to put out, here's 9 things that I want to make. I also found I was sort of picking things almost at random or putting arbitrary items on the list because I want to use this. When it comes to the fabric that I decided I wanted to use, I feel like maybe some of those fabrics were on the list because I feel like I've had them for a really long time and they were special and I love them. But maybe I don't actually want to use them or wear them. So I need to think about that a little bit as it pertains to my fabric stash. So finally, I want to leave you with some of the things that I learned this year. So this was a big year in growth for me, both in terms of I learned how to film and edit videos. I learned how to promote my videos a little bit. I tested a lot of garments. So I learned, I'm really comfortable with French seaming. I'm really comfortable with using my serger and the cover stitch functions on my serger. I feel like I have come a long way in that aspect. I feel like I have gotten, like I said earlier, very comfortable with inserting zippers, and I hope that that doesn't jinx me for the rest of time. But I'm not intimidated by zippers. So I think that is great. I made a sheared garment. It worked very well with some experimentation. I learned some things about shearing, and I I wouldn't worry about shearing another garment again. I think that I would happily sign up for a pattern test that involved shearing, or I would absolutely make a garment that had a sheared detail or back or a significant sheared element without being too worried about, oh, I don't know if I can do this. So that's a success. And I got quite comfortable with crotch curve adjustments. So through my Allegro pants experiment, I learned how to do a crotch curve. I experimented with different ones. And then when I made the duet trousers, I also experimented with the crotch curve there. I learned when I made the Itch to Stitch Pine Cove pajama pants. I made 2 different kinds. I learned to compare that flat pattern crotch curve to other ones that I had made to see, do I think I need to alter this or not? And it's not as intimidating as I thought it was before. So I'm proud of that. Built some confidence in that area. I don't know if I'm confident enough again to try those Allegro pants again, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And the other thing I learned this year that I think is really important is that beautiful clothes do make me feel good. And I know this, and yet every day I still seem to reach for the same gray sweatshirt that I bought at the library as a fundraiser, or like the same cardigan and jeans and solid color t-shirts. So I think that, when I think about the clothes that I made that I'm super proud of, they're not solid basics. They're fun garments to wear. And when I wear them, I feel good. And so, when I wear garments that I have made that, maybe it's a solid colored t-shirt, I also feel good because I know it fits me. And so that's something to remember, that the way something fits, the pride I have in having made it on my own, like that, it's worth it taking the time to adjust the pattern and be confident and comfortable with it, and then you feel good. So that's something I'm also going to carry forward with me into the future. So those are my thoughts on 2021 and my year in sewing. What the next year has in store for me, I guess you'll just have to watch my part 2 of this video series next. And I will talk to you again soon.